I want you to get together.
Hello, everyone. I've got another stream of consciousness type conversation for you guys today. I got out of the habit of doing these, but I'm picking it back up. Last week I made one talking specifically about forgiveness. It was just kind of something that I needed to say. I don't know why necessarily. It was just weighing on me. One person left a very odd comment, like it was some kind of coordinated effort by all conspiracy theorist channels to placate conspiracy theorists and make them weak or something. And there was something about that idea in general. I get a lot of comments like that, kind of attacking my Tips for Truthers series. It kind of makes me laugh, because when I'm there basically saying, calm down, stop looking so crazy and weird, chill out for a minute, basically that's what my truth therapy sessions, what my tips are all about. It's about how not to look like the typical stereotypical insane conspiracy theorist who's just an absolute lunatic, so you don't push people away. It's pretty simple, basic methods, not to stop yourself from succeeding before you even begin, basically, because a lot of people do just that, don't they? They burn all their bridges very quickly because they came on too strong when they learn all these truths. So I'm trying to put these messages out, to make people remember, or at least come back down a little bit down to earth and remember what was it like to be somebody who wasn't really awake, somebody who didn't know these things. Because if we forget what it was like to be in that position, then we're not going to be able to communicate with them. We're not going to be able to bridge that gap with them and meet them where they are and lead them delicately to where they need to be so they can pick it up and carry it on their own. Because this is the problem. We're not really in the game of trying to tell people the truth. We're in the game of trying to convince people that they need to try and start learning about the truth. Do you get what I mean? Do you understand the distinction there? People aren't going to listen to you just because you're telling them facts. People don't want to know the facts because they're very comfortable living lies right now. And facts dismantle the illusion they're living under. So you are actually a problem from their current perspective and situation and where they're at. And you need to remember that. So what we need to do is convince them that they need to start learning some facts. Not teach them the facts. We need to convince them to go look for the facts themselves. And to get them into that mindset, to get them there, you need to lead by example. So this is another tips in a way that I'm kind of going to roll into this random talk I'm having right now. It's a bit of a longer tip more than anything. I think it's something that does need to be kind of said and reminded again, but it's that you are an ambassador for the truth. If you know some things that are paradigm shifting, if you've uncovered some stuff which flips the entire narrative on its head, if you have woken up, for lack of a better new age term, if you have been born again, if you want to go through a Christian kind of angle on this, if you have had your eyes opened, if you asked and you received and had a download of information and knowledge from upon high, and you're now privy to things and you can no longer view the world or act in the world how you used to anymore because your perspective is now shifted to a more reality grounded level, shall we say, then it's up to you to walk in a way that's going to make other people want to see what you know. Now, if you are disheveled, hunched over, unkept, crazy wild hair everywhere, you stink because you haven't showered in weeks or something because you're just too obsessive over the information. Basic hygiene, you got to get that down first, let's just get that one out of the way. But then let's go in further. If you're like, your clothes are in tatters and you're kind of just wandering around barefoot, you know what I mean? And you're very unapproachable. If you haven't taken care of yourself, you've erected a huge barrier there, which is going to make people say, oh, let's keep that crazy person away from me. Not because you are crazy, and not because you're unjustified in maybe letting yourself go a little bit because you've been deep into researching and bettering yourself knowledge-wise, but because the audience you're trying to convince need that kind of shit. Do you understand? They are shallow people. They're living in a shallow reality. They're living in a place where they judge people by their looks. So you need to play the game, whether you like it or not. If you want to reach them, you got to meet them where they are, and that's just where they are right now. So the basics, if you're going to be a good ambassador for the truth, is sort yourself out. Get some clean clothes. I don't care what style you get it, but make yourself look a little bit more presentable. Look after yourself. Get a haircut. Just have a shower. Do anything. Just do the basic stuff first. We're dealing with visual creatures. They're living on basic, shallow visual instincts. They're not living on deep, profound levels of don't judge books by their covers. They haven't got that far. These are not people who are in that place in their life where they're going to get. These are people who follow celebrities. These are people who worship false idols put before them on polished screens with makeup artists and teams. That's where they are. They listen to people like that. And if that's what it takes, you need to get on a level. I'm not saying I'm brilliant. I'm not, What have I done? I put on a cheap shirt I got from Temu for a holiday last year, and I'm wearing a black t-shirt, and I've got some lights behind me. Believe it or not, that's probably all it takes. It's not hard. Just some basic stuff needs to be taken care of. Present yourself well. Because this is the other issue. And this is why this kind of matters. And again, this is just the trivial bullshit I have to say here. I wish I didn't have to care so much about looks and the way things appear, presentational style, aesthetically speaking. I wish I didn't have to care about that kind of crap. Because I don't care about that kind of crap in my own day-to-day life. I don't. I get a haircut every 6 months. Okay, I let it grow really long, and then I trim it really short so I don't have to go again for another 6 months. That's the cycle. Same for the beard, whatever. But unfortunately, people seem to listen more when you've presented yourself in a bit more of a kept up manner. It's sad, but true. And I've kind of explained to you why there, haven't I? Because that's where the people you're trying to convince are. That's the thing they actually look at. That's what they're looking for. And if you are looking a little bit run down and wild and crazy and a mess, what they see when they look at you immediately, before you even opened your mouth, they are thinking, I want nothing to do with whatever has made the person be like this. Whatever this individual in front of me right now is living, whatever information they're taking in, whatever stuff is entertaining them, whatever thing has inspired them to look like this and act like this, I want nothing to do with. That's it. You've lost them immediately. Okay? It's sad, but that's the truth. Right. And I know what people are already saying. Well, I don't want to entertain those people anyway. I don't want to talk to those people. They're all just sheep and losers and weirdos, and they're just crazy anyway. I'm not the crazy one. They're the crazy one. They don't even deserve to talk to me or know the truth. Let them be in their delusions. And you're probably going to go as far as thinking they're evil. They're stupid. They deserve to suffer. Because they're too naive to open their eyes, and you get these delusions in your own head. You forget that you used to be like that. You were one of them. They're people just like you. Do you just forget stuff like that? Have you just forgotten? Are you so lost in the truth of movement that you forgot that people are people? Like, people have lives outside of truther topics. People are not in a place where you currently are, and to get them where you currently are takes a long, arduous effort on the behalf of those trying to teach them the truth. They're not evil because they're ignorant. They're just ignorant. Okay, they don't deserve to suffer under a delusional lie just because they haven't figured out that it's a lie. You need to forgive them. They literally don't know what they're doing when they partake and go along with the current thing ideologies that are forced upon them on the TV. They don't know there's anything outside of it. They haven't chosen, like a lot of people like to think, to live that life of being an agent in the Matrix. They did not choose it. They literally don't know any better. They don't know there's other options than the mainstream narrative. They don't know they've been lied to on a mass scale. And it's up to us to get them to a point where they can start to question so they can begin their own journey of self-discovery in the truth. And again, the basics you need to get down if you want to be a good ambassador for the truth and an inspiration, a signpost for where they need to go. Get the basics down. Keep yourself together. Don't let your basic personal hygiene suffer. Okay, that's the first thing. Get the visuals down. And now it's about carrying yourself. Now it's about attitude. So I just mentioned the attitude there, didn't I? That typical, those people who don't know are bad people. They didn't figure it out like me. Therefore, I'm better than those sheep. And again, I've made a tip about this. You know, people are sheeple. So, sorry, sheeple are people, should I say. And yeah, no, they are. They're people. And this attitude, this holier-than-thou attitude of, they're just idiots who didn't figure it out. They're just fools who are willing to sell me down the river at any moment just for a pat on the back from Big Daddy government. It's this attitude. It's kind of like, it's because of people like them I had to be locked down, or I couldn't do this, or I couldn't do that. It's these people that made me lose my job, or me do this. It's like, okay, so you're blaming the brainwashed children who literally haven't got a clue what's going on and don't know anything, rather than the system itself. You're blaming the victims, because that's what they are. The victims living under a delusion. You need to remember that. You need to have some love and compassion in your heart. Because without love, what are we? What's the point? What's the point in any of this? It's kind of, do you really want to help people? If you have that kind of attitude, are you really trying to save other people and get them and pull them out of this mess? Or do you just like feeling like you're better than other people? Which one is it? It's like I think, was it Alexander Solzhenitsyn, I think, said this. I remember my Jordan Peterson days are coming back here, and something about this rings true, you know. But isn't this idea that, you know, the communists and the people and the socialists and the communists who kind of follow those ideologies, and they claim, you know, redistribute the wealth now, take it from the rich, give it to the poor, and it's this kind of thing. You know, like equity now, you know, we all need to be equal, we all need the basics, we all need to be paid the same, and it's kind of what they realize is, oh, those genocidal maniacs, they don't care about poor people. They just hate the rich. And there's a difference there, isn't there? There's nothing altruistic about that attitude. And I feel like in some synonymous way, there's a parallel here to these type of people in the truth movement have that attitude. It's kind of, you don't care about people who are lost in the matrix. You don't want to help them. You just want to feel like you're better than them. You just want to have feed your superiority ego, your complex in some way. And, you know, you can't put down the victims of the movement, of which you used to be one, right? Do you remember? It's not right. It's the wrong attitude to have. And I'm going to put it, you know, Christians are not innocent in this. I've seen them do it too. But it's usually the non-Christian truthers who heavily go down that route, who have black-pilled themselves into oblivion and just think everything's so fucking terrible beyond absolute belief. And people are just retarded beyond, and they just have these images in their mind that, like, the world's just full of idiots and they're a lone wolf in this who is the only one who sees it, and, you know, we may as well just give up now. They're going to sell us down the river and we'll go on our way to hell in a handbasket type of stuff. And it's over. It's all over. There's no hope. What's the point? You know, ultra nihilistic, black-pilled truthers are out there. And they usually end up incredibly racist as well, and very just prejudiced towards factions and groups. Name one. I'm sure every side has their own version of this, you know. I'm not here to specifically get down to which group or whatever it is. You got the blacks who hate the whites who hate the blacks, or it's the Jews, or it's it doesn't matter. It's everywhere. There's just xenophobic, us versus them tribal mentalities solidified in the truth movement, which are terrible, by the way, a terrible look. And I'd say those people are not really being very good ambassadors for the truth movement, are they? Which brings back to the main point. We're called, if you know these things, and it's time to be a good ambassador for the truth. It's time to present yourself in a way that is going to make other people want to know, want to question, want to begin to get involved. Okay, because it's more than just truth or stuff. Like sure, discovering one particular corruption out there organically by themselves may make them lead to questioning other things. Okay, so imagine someone has a tragedy in their family and realizes the medical industry isn't all it's cracked up to be. One thing leads to another, then they discover that the controlling mechanisms of the 13 power blood families of the Illuminati, etc., etc., and they end up going way down the rabbit hole to the bottom, and they discover, oh damn, we've been played, you know. Say they get there. Well, now they have all this information, they're isolated, they're alone. And they're going to look for a community of other people, like-minded people who are involved in this type of thing. And they're going to try and, you know, get somewhere. And then they discovered that, oh, well, it's this group of disparate, crazy people all arguing with each other. And at that point, maybe they'll just go back to their normal life. They'll just try to forget. They'll get over it because they don't want anything to do with the scene as it is and what it's become and what it. As always, well, it's been like this since I tried and started this channel in like 2014. It's factions against factions within the truth movement. It always has been. Maybe it always will be. But I'm calling here, I'm pleading, I'm trying to get people to think just a little bit more about nuance, about the presentation. Okay? To think that the words matter and what they say and what they do has an impact on people far greater than they immediately would understand or assume they would have. So, you know, I'm rambling here, I know, but these are my stream of consciousness talks. This is what I do. I just ramble a little bit and get things off my chest. But fundamentally, you need to remember where people are. You need to be a good ambassador for the truth. You need to be. You have to be. If you want to wake people up, you want to help people sincerely. You're not just playing some weird egotistical power trip looking for influence and over people or trying to build a movement or something or your channel and you're out for yourself and you have selfish needs or whatever it is. If you're actually sincerely an individual who wants to help wake people up, then you need to sort your shit out. You need to be ready to answer questions when they come. You need to be polite, you need to be calm, you need to be forgiving, you need to be understanding, you need to do everything you can to try and show that conspiracy theorists aren't crazy people. They're just people, like everybody else, who are looking into things that otherwise might seem dangerous or crazy on the surface or weird or strange. But this individual over here, he still seems to have his head screwed on. He seems all right. He seems like the type of guy I'd like to sit down and have a pint with sometime in the pub and have a conversation. He seems all right. He's not giving me weird vibes. He seems normal, you know, and maybe this information is worth listening to. Because he seems all right. In fact, in some ways, his life seems like it's a bit more put together than mine. What's he found that's made him behave and act like this, eh? That's the kind of attitude we want to make people have when they meet a truther. Oh, this isn't what the government told me they'd be like. Oh, these people aren't crazy. They're just people like me. I wonder what they've been looking into. Maybe I'll ask them. If you want to get people to that state of mind, then they're going off trivial surface level stuff first. How do you look? How do you present yourself? How do you communicate? That's all they need to go off. And they're going to make a snap judgment in 5 seconds on whether or not they're going to have a conversation with you about these things. That's it. That's all it takes. People are fickle. People are quick. And then that's either you've got them or you've lost them. Hopefully, an opportunity will arise in the future and they'll question things again. But, you know, you don't. Who knows when that'll happen? Maybe they'll never question things again. Maybe that's an opportunity lost forever. But how you present yourself really matters. And I have this old phrase. I've used it a lot. And I think you need to remember this. It's a sad, sad fact about people and how we work. It's a testament to how shallow and just stupid sinners we actually are as people in general. People don't buy products. They buy the person selling the product. Okay? The truth needs salesmen and women. I hate it. It's shit. It's a terrible situation. It's sad that that's the case, but that's the facts. People aren't going to just believe the truth because it's the truth. It needs to be sold to them. They need to know why knowing the truth and believing it is useful for them. They need to be sold that it's in their best interest to know the truth. And if you're walking around wild-haired, jabbering to yourself, repeating yourself, talking without taking a breath for 2 hours straight, chewing off their ear, you're not convincing them that knowing the truth is a good thing. They'll look at you and go, I don't want to end up like this guy. You can keep your truth. Do you really want to be that guy? Anyway, I'll leave it there. Thanks for listening, and as always, God bless.
I want you to get together